I feel bad about ripping on EA, as they're already the industry's punching bag, and for good reason. Most companies are either evil like Activision, or stupid like Xbox. But EA is a perfect storm of both idiocy and malice, with both predatory practices and idiotic responses to those practices. But today I'd like to focus on the two dumbest things EA has ever said. The two things that hit closest to home for me personally. That single player is dead. If you can't tell from this channel, I play almost exclusively single player games, for various reasons, the two chief ones being that I have no friends, and that I feel like a human wallet every time I play one, like I'm a lab rat being tested against all the subtle marketing and design choices to get me to spend extra money. It feels dehumanizing and ultimately pointless, as you can never fully complete a multiplayer game. I wouldn't have minded if EA had simply stopped making single-player games, because then I'd just merely stop playing EA games. But here's the thing, when the president of EA said that in 2010, EA never stopped making single-player games. What's even weirder about that year specifically is that in the last 12 months, EA had put out Mirror's Edge, Dragon Age Origins, and a little game called Mass Effect 2, which I, like many others, consider to be the best Western RPG of all time. So when your company is seeing dramatic critical and commercial acclaim from single-player titles, why would the president of the company say they were moving away from them? Not only that, years after this was said, they never stopped making single-player games. All the games I previously mentioned got sequels, one of which won a Game of the Year award, so why would the president say this? Simple, he's a money-grubbing idiot. There are countless studies that prove wealth changes the way you think. Your entire world becomes dollar signs as you make cold and cruel decisions to line your own pockets. And the president simply latched onto the evident truth that multiplayer games make more money than single-player games. But what he failed to consider is that single-player games are often more successful. A single-player game can never die, it can't lose its community or have its servers taken down, it will always be there to trickle in money. While multiplayer eventually fades away and dies, most of them a lot quicker than others, single-player games constantly trickle in money year after year. While the amount of money they make is undoubtedly less than multiplayer, they're a much safer bet. Now, in business, you can't always do the safe thing. Any good company takes risks to make something untried and different, but declaring that the safe option for making games is dead is completely foolish. Now, that president in particular moved on to the one audience more gullible than the people who buy new sports games every year, Facebook users, as now he's in charge of Farmville. Most recently, EA's Twitter account manager made quite possibly the dumbest brand tweet in this industry's history. What's exceptionally odd about this is that EA was almost exclusively being held up by its single-player games. Obviously, FIFA was still the cash cow for them, as Battlefield was all but abandoned, but they just won their second Game of the Year award for It Takes Two, something not even Nintendo has done yet. What's equally ridiculous is that nearly all of EA's big upcoming titles are single-player, their recent critical successes with Dead Space Remake and Jedi Survivor. Dragon Age Dreadwolf, Iron Man, Mass Effect, this represents a total shift in priorities. And now for the trap of this essay. EA has really been turning it around. When the biggest controversy in the last 12 months is the douche bro that runs your Twitter putting his foot in his mouth, you're doing pretty well. And when you compare that to the monumental mistakes you've made in the past, this is an excellent year for your brand image. Now, a couple good single-player games are nowhere near enough to undo all the harm they've done, but it's the first step towards a better future. I want to close this out by reminding you that a company can't be evil. Its CEO and board can, but the entire company can't. Those in power at EA consistently screw up in phenomenal ways, but the teams at BioWare, Motive, and Respawn are just trying to make the best games possible. And you know what? I think they're succeeding.